Hey, what's up, branding experts? Arek here at Epic Design, and welcome to On Branding Podcast. And my guest today is Austin Armstrong. And Austin is a digital marketer, public speaker, and the CEO of Socialty Pro, which is a digital marketing agency specializing in TikTok marketing and SEO. So he has posted over 1,500 videos on TikTok, tripling his own business, and then thousands of more across his clients' accounts. So Austin believes that TikTok can help just businesses unlock realize potential, marketing potential, and he would love to share with us some tips today. Hello, Austin. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on. It's a privilege.
Thank you very much. So these days, we all know that digital marketing, online marketing is extremely important for any kind of a business, small business. It doesn't matter if it's a personal brand, if you're selling products or offer services, but you specialize in TikTok. So I just want to start with something simple. Why should we implement TikTok in our marketing strategy? Why not Instagram? Why not Snapchat? What is so special about TikTok, that we cannot leverage or cannot find in other platforms?
Well, yeah, great question. First of all, you absolutely can and should leverage the other platforms as well. It's not TikTok versus Instagram. I think they can work really well together. So I'll kind of get into that. So TikTok's the new kid on the block. It's chat, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter, whatever. They've all been around for over a decade at this point. TikTok is really in its infancy still. It's really just come to America in the last 3 years and built up so much popularity over the last 2 years, even less than that. So it's still wide open for everybody in every industry to reach as many people as you possibly can organically. Now, another great reason to incorporate TikTok into your social media digital marketing strategy for your business is that all of these other platforms are adopting a short form vertical video strategy. So if you go in with the mentality of creating a TikTok first strategy, that's typically what we do. You can repurpose those videos and simultaneously grow your Instagram, grow your Snapchat, grow your YouTube, grow your Facebook channel by using the exact same video. So it's a little bit of a shift in how you're approaching digital marketing. It's the latest cutting edge format of content that's performing exceptionally well online, but it's the best chance and best time that we've ever had, in my opinion, to grow online. And TikTok is right at the forefront of this.
Right. So some of my key takeaways. So basically, you just so for our listeners, right? So either our listeners are either creatives or business owners themselves, right? So you can just use our tips to either develop a strategy for your clients or implement these tips and this strategy in house. So basically, just to summarize, TikTok is wide open. It has a great organic reach, which actually I believe, from what I've seen and articles I've read on the internet, on Instagram is the opposite. It's kind of like it's on the downhill, and TikTok is more on gives you more. It pushes the content of new creators more than on Instagram. So it performs really well, and it's all about those short form videos, as you mentioned. So we can reuse them and we can upload them on Instagram. We can upload them on as YouTube Shorts and on other platforms. So maybe we can just jump into specifically into how to make those videos, what to share on TikTok, how to go about even where to start figuring out your strategy. Like should we target certain keywords? Should we just tell our story? Should we answer people's questions? Or any ideas?
Yeah, you brought up a lot of great strategies, actually. One thing before I get into it, I want to come a common obstacle that a lot of people think that you need in order to be successful on TikTok, you need to dance or do sketches or funny skits or anything along the lines of that, which is absolutely not true. While there is a fair amount of that, there are dancing videos on there, there's kids on there, there's prank videos, there's videos of cats and dogs. There's a very fast growing educational side of TikTok in every industry. And that is your opportunity. So as you were saying, telling stories, tell the stories of you, tell your origin story, tell the brand story, how you can help your clients overcome whatever it is that your service or product provides. Really clearly know who you're trying to reach, by clearly defining your buyer persona, your target demographic. All of your content decisions are going to be filtered through that lens, and you're much more likely to reach that person. So I would really go about TikTok and a short form vertical video strategy from an educational perspective. What are all of the frequently asked questions that you get? You can leverage SEO keyword tools like ahrefs.com or semrush.com or ubersuggest.io to type in your industry and find out a ton of questions that people are searching for online. Guess what? That's a great video that you can do a 30-second video answering that specific question. And you put that up on TikTok and you put that up on Instagram and you put that up on YouTube. It's going to resonate with who you're trying to reach and provide them with really detailed information. Now, another thing to focus on is these are short form, which basically means 60 seconds or less. So you don't have a lot of room to tell your life story before you get into the content. YouTube is like the opposite, where you have time to introduce yourself and say what your channel is about and give your background and your expertise. No, not on TikTok. Just open the video up by immediately hooking them in by saying what the video is about, the value proposition of that video, and get right into it. Don't introduce yourself. Just provide your audience with as much value as you can for free and stay consistent with it as frequently as you can post.
Right, and I've seen some of your videos, and so basically, as you mentioned, it's all about like what you are doing is all about education. You're giving some educational tips or some interesting facts, or some tips or tricks and things like that. So, and that's what you would recommend for any kind of a business, right? Whether you have products or services, there are some benefits behind either using your service or using your products, and we can talk about those benefits, right? And so how to even start. So maybe we can discuss more about like if you have like a structured process, but I would assume that somewhere at the beginning you would have to like define your strategy, right? What you mentioned, figure out their demographics, psychographics, and things like that. Try to build like a brand persona, so who are you talking to, and then try to like do some keyword research, as you mentioned, right? Ahrefs, SEMrush, Ubersuggest, and start there. And I personally like Ubersuggest, because there is this Chrome plugin, and it gives you like whenever you search for something, it gives you like an estimated volume, so that other people search for this keyword as well. So this is something that you can create content about. Am I right here?
Yeah, absolutely. I love Ubersuggest. It's the website too is like the best free SEO tool out there. They just give you a ton of information for free. But let's kind of let's deep dive into this a little bit, and then we can keep going. So, another thing that I like to do is this everything that we've talked about is kind of surface level so far. So let's kind of deep dive and take it to the next level. So what we like to do, our process is after you've clearly outlined your buyer persona, outline at least 4 categories of content that you're able to talk about. So the frequently asked questions could be one category. Or let's say that let's say a therapist, right? I work a lot with therapists. I work a lot in the behavioral health space. So I love to give this example, but if you're a therapist, you offer therapy, but there's a lot of different areas of therapy that you can help people with. So one category of content might be addiction. Another category of content could be depression or anxiety. Another category could be marriage problems or relationship problems. And another category could be narcissism. And so if you have all of these categories, these are broad categories, 10 to 20 individually broken down topics or questions, single bullet pointed topics under each one of those categories that you can talk about in a 30-second video or 60 seconds if you need to go that long. And what this is going to do is provide you with a systematic approach to go through a video in category A, a video in category B, category C, category D, category E, etc. And you go through this process. So after like 14 days or a month, however long, you're going to see, based on the trends and based on the data, of videos in this category perform exceptionally better than the videos in this category. Double down on what's working. That's good digital marketing. All of these platforms have a momentum push on them. So if you put out really good videos consistently, it's going to consistently reach more and more people. But if you put out a good video and then you put out just a crappy video, it's going to halt your growth a little bit. So what you want to do is, this is a systematic approach to tackle all of the things that you're able to talk about, do, offer, sell in your business. This is going to let you figure out what works and what doesn't work, do more of what works, pivot your strategy. In this example, a therapist, we recognized that his narcissism oriented content was performing far better than the other categories that he's able to talk about. So we pivoted, and we do now about 70% videos about narcissism oriented questions and topics and things that people are asking in the comment section. And we do far less of the other types of videos. And that's why he's growing so quickly. So this is the secret. This is the process.
Yeah, that's a great example.
Outline and double down on what works.
Yeah, that's an awesome example, and this is more for business owners who are listening to our podcast. And I want to just to sum up. So basically, we are trying to come up with about four categories of content, right? It could be Q&A and so on. And you gave us example with this therapist, right? So it could be depression and so on, narcissism, as you mentioned, perform that, and then you prepare like 10 to 20 topics for each category, and you just start regularly posting. Consistently. It's all about consistency. You check what performs best, and you double down on that, obviously, right? And some ideas for maybe creatives who are listening to our podcast. Let's say you are a branding expert. You design logos, you design brand identities, and so on. What kind of content you can create? So, talking from my own experience, those categories could be, for example, something like logo design, web design, brand identity, maybe a style guide, and so on, right? And then topics. So, for example, for logo design could be, how to design a logo design process, how to choose a color for a logo, how to choose a font for a logo, what are the types of logos and things like that, So I hope it gives you guys some ideas on how to create content. And maybe do you have like any other tips or tricks you would like to share with us? Maybe some common mistakes that, your clients or your colleagues in the space run into?
Sure. So I'll do common mistakes as well that I've seen. Another way to funnel this even more, now that you have your categories of content and videos focused, a good marketing funnel is really 3 stages of the funnel. Broad awareness level, which is the top of the funnel that brings everybody in from the furthest reaches. So this is really broad content that's going to reach as many people as possible. The next stage is awareness or consideration. So you've brought them into your ecosystem, you've brought them into your funnel. Now you're nurturing them with content that's going to provide them more value and cause them to consider buying or learning more about you or signing up for your email list. And then at the bottom of that funnel is conversion. So you really want to focus on straight call to actions. Click the link in my bio to schedule a call with me. Click the link to get my free ebook that I made for you. Just put in your email address. And so what I like to do is I like to do like 70 to 80% of the videos that I put out to be in that broad awareness funnel, because you're going to grow. You're going to bring in a lot of eyeballs. You're going to get a lot of people to follow you. Just to give you a quick example of all 3 of these from my own personal funnel of how I grow my business on TikTok. My broad awareness content is useful websites. So I'll do a video on, these are 5 useful websites that every business owner needs to know. So it's going to be attracting every business owner is going to be interested in these videos, and they follow me to find more useful websites. This is super broad, very broad. It just gives people value for free value. My nurturing or educational awareness content is going to be more step-by-step tutorials, like how to get more backlinks for your website, how to structure a blog article on your website to optimize it for SEO, how to form the perfect content strategy on TikTok for your business. These are really granular. So I'm nurturing all of the people that have come in, and then very infrequent. And so that'll be like 20% of the content. And then the last like 5 to 10% of content is call to actions. I do this very infrequently. Nobody wants to be sold. You don't want to go on TikTok and watch an infomercial over and over again. That would be boring. It's not valuable to you, but sneak one in every now and then. It's okay. You've earned that right by putting out free, valuable content to say, hey, you know what? I just created you a free TikTok for business checklist. You can get it right now in my bio. Just put in your email address and you'll get it instantly. And that's how you're going to build your email list. You can say, schedule a 15-minute call with me and drive them to a Calendly link, something like that. But that's a great way to structure your content and go in with a systematic approach. Now, to answer your other question about common mistakes, I kind of alluded to it a little bit, but this is a short form platform. The attention span on TikTok is awful. You've got 2 seconds to hook that person in. Otherwise, they're swiping on to the next video. So you need to immediately open that video with what you're going to be talking about and why it's beneficial to who you're trying to reach. Don't say your name. Don't say your credentials. Don't say, here's what my channel is about. Here's my 10-year life story. Don't do any of that. Just provide them immediate value. That's what's going to cause them to watch your video. That's what's going to cause them to follow you, to learn more about the value that you're offering them. And that's what's going to have them actually contact you to become a client or a sale or whatever it is that you're selling.
Right. No, that's a great overview, and I'm glad that you explained to us with how the funnel works. Going from broad topics and just bring awareness to your brand, and then funneling this this audience down, and then nurturing them. And then, sometimes it doesn't have to be a direct call to action, right? It could be an indirect call to action, as you mentioned, right? It could still be about the value, like download my checklist or things like that. Or so you can just, grab their email, follow up, and perhaps convert them later on, right? But it's great talking to you, because I'm not really on TikTok, but I could just, I started doing YouTube shorts, and I started doing Instagram shorts, and I can just reuse this content on TikTok, right?
Absolutely.
And I have some videos on YouTube, and just regarding to what you just mentioned, that you shouldn't introduce yourself. You shouldn't, you should get straight to the point. So the way I'm doing now is let's say I have a 10-minute or 15-minute video on YouTube, and I'm trying to create now I'm going to do it on TikTok, but I'm doing on Instagram currently and on YouTube shorts. I'm creating like a under 60-second version of that, just to hook people and get them towards the full video.
Yes.
On YouTube, right?
Absolutely. Great strategy.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess I'm doing this right. So I just wanted to mention that, because I've seen people do this a lot. Because as you mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, nowadays it's all about this short form content, and that's where our attention is. So that's where we need to go, right? And it's really hard to just get people to read a long 2,000 words article or watch a 20-minute video, right? An interview. So let's just what we are doing now. We are doing a podcast, 25-minute podcast, but I'm going to take some highlights from this podcast, and I'm going to post it as YouTube short and on Instagram. And I'm going to do it also on TikTok. I'm going to start doing this there. So, so my goal would be with this video to hook people and get them towards the full interview, right? So
yeah. And it's
basically how it works.
It's important to know that we're all unique people. We're all unique human beings, and we all learn differently. There's different learning styles for this information. And that's why it's so important to take the time to repurpose across all of this, right? Because some people are audio learners. So they're going to listen to this podcast, they're going to listen to this episode, and they're going to retain that information better than if they were to read it or if they were to watch a longer YouTube video. The same thing is with everybody, right? Like a blog article. Some people are readers. Some people retain information by reading it more so than listening to it or watching it. So that's where blog articles come in. And same thing with video elements. Watching a YouTube video. Some people are visual learners. For me, like if I'm putting together a piece of furniture, IKEA furniture, or changing a tire or something, I'm a visual learner. If I read instructions, I have to read it 10 times for me to understand how to do it. I'm a visual learner. And so we also have to focus on attention span now, because our attention span is terrible. So not everybody wants to learn or has the attention to watch a longer YouTube video. So we have to condense that information down into a short vertical video, which is everywhere right now. So that's why it's so important to create content for everybody, because we're all learners and we all learn in a different capacity. So it's so important to cater to that so that you can reach and help as many people as you can.
Yeah, awesome. So it was great talking to you. So as we are approaching the end of our episode, I just wanted to ask, how do you want people to reach out to you? Probably on TikTok, right? So what's your TikTok? What's your website?
Yeah, if you want to find me on TikTok, my username is SocialtyPro. That's SocialtyPro. You can also find me on any social media platform on that. And if you want to learn more about how businesses are leveraging TikTok to grow their business, I have my own TikTok for Business podcast. It's called Business Talk. That's Business TOK. And you can find that on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Okay, I'm going to link to Business Talk in your podcast. I'm going to link to your website and your social media. So you guys can check it out. You can find the links in the description below. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Likewise. Thank you for having me on. It was a great privilege.